Oh god, I have to back out. I'll check out Red Mars. Okay, enjoy your night. It is quite a good book. We're a little bit of the way into it. We read part 1, Festival Night. And there was a party. And then there was a riot. Which may or may not have been caused by Frank Chalmer getting John Boone murdered. Man, I don't know if I have a summary in me this week. Oh god, has everybody been paying attention? We're on The Voyage Out right now, which is part 2. The Voyage Out, where they travel from Earth to Mars many years before Festival Night. So, you know, they do a little switcheroo. Ow. You gave good summaries the last 2 times. Okay, that's good. Although some great stuff happened since last week. Maya, you know, she's just floating around in space. She had sex with John in 0G. I'm sure Frank will be thrilled. They collided. And everybody on this ship is like super catty. It's like a Big Brother house. Everybody's talking about everybody, and they've got to like send videos back to Earth because they're almost there, and you know it's like news or whatever. There's no murder yet. That happens way later. Now they're just going to Mars, like, for the first time. And they're gonna go set up the colony. Then what else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, real quick. Maya, she thought she saw somebody on the ship. Somebody that she doesn't know. Which, if you've been paying attention, there's only 100 people. Everybody is accounted for on the ship. And Maya does not know if she's hallucinating or if there's like a stowaway, which would be impossible, because how the fuck would a stowaway survive? But she thought she saw a face in the cabbage through a glass. And then it ran away from her. So, and then, you know, that face, it, like, keeps her up at night, and she can't sleep, and she's really freaked out, and she's like, oh my god, am I losing my mind? Because do I have space madness? Do I have space mad cow? And then, so, like, she can't sleep, and then she goes into the bubble dome, which is where, like, it's, like, this cool, like a viewing deck, and there's, like, some sensitive instruments in there that can't be rotated. So they're in the center, and there's a bubble dome that you can look out of. So she goes to the bubble dome to think, and then John walks in, and he's like, oh, do you mind if I join you? And then, you know, and then they, yeah. All right, we're all caught up. Yeah, John's the Giga Chad leader. And, you know, Frank Chalmers, he's like a Sigma. Sigma balls. But, you know, he wants to be the alpha, so he's, like, kind of jealous of John, and then he had sex with Maya first, because, like, Maya and Frank are, like, both the leaders. You know, like John is the face, and Frank is the brains, and Frank's actually supposed to be in charge, but everybody listens to John more than they listen to Frank. And then Frank was all like, ooh, I'm fucking Maya, the Russian leader. And Maya didn't really like his attitude, and he was also, like, kind of, like, a scary guy. Like, he just, like, I don't know, he's got, like, a weird look. He's a little, you don't know if there's somebody home, you know? And so then Maya's like, all right, I'm gonna cool it with Frank. You know, it was just for fun. And then now she's having some fun. She's having some fun with John. And yeah, so everybody on the ship is fucking each other and talking shit about all the other people for who they sleep with. But then they'll go and like sleep with somebody, and then everybody will talk shit about them. The end. They flew into each other and met in a spinning embrace and floated, kissing, among their floating clothes. Zultralord, thank you for 45 months and for reminding me to mute the alerts. Sockeye, did I miss that? Okay, I'm sorry, Sockeye, WX, thank you for 7 months. And Alexis, I hope I said thank you for 46 months. Sorry. Hello, Planetary Conundrum. Oh my god, the marked. I did not need to think about that. I'm pretty sure if you have an STI, they wouldn't let you go to Mars. So, you know, everybody's good. Brutal as it is, you're probably safe. Zultralord, hello. Oh yeah, we've already established they've lied. I'm sure they take turns cleaning the bubble dome. All right. Red Mars. In the days that followed, they met again. They made no attempt to keep the relationship a secret. So very quickly, they were a known item, a public couple. Many aboard seemed taken aback by the development, and one morning, walking into the dining hall, Maya caught a swift glance from Frank, seated at a corner table, that chilled her. It reminded her of some other time, some incident, some look on his face that she couldn't quite call to mind. I'm not going to Mars until there are trees on Mars. Ah, well, you can join us for the next book, Green Mars. They made no attempt to keep the relationship a secret. They were a public couple. One day, walking into the dining hall, Maya caught a swift glance from Frank, seated at a corner table, that chilled her. It reminded her of some other time, some incident, some look on his face that she couldn't quite call to mind. But most of those aboard seemed pleased. After all, it was a kind of royal match, signifying, excuse me. After all, it was a kind of royal match. An alliance of the two powers behind the colony, signifying harmony. Indeed, the union seemed to catalyze a number of others, which either came out of the closet or, in the newly supersaturated medium, sprang into being. Vlad and Ursula, Dmitri and Elena, Raoul and Marina. Newly evident couples were everywhere, to the point where the singletons among them began to make nervous jokes about it. Vlursula, as they were called. Wait. Vlursula? Okay, Dmitri and Elena? That one's not... I can't think of anything funny for that. Raoul and Marina. Rarina. I'm not good at this. Maul. Sounds like a fucking dragon's name. Blursura and Rarina. Rarina in bed. Okay, sorry, Roar. Newly evident couples were everywhere, to the point where the singletons among them began to make nervous jokes about it. But Maya thought she noticed less tension in voices, fewer arguments, more laughter. One night, lying in bed thinking about it, thinking of wandering over to John's room, she wondered if that was why they had gotten together. Not from love. She still did not love him. She felt no more than friendship for him, charged by lust that was strong but impersonal. But because it was, in fact, a very useful match. Useful to her, but she swerved from that thought. Concentrated on the match's usefulness to the expedition as a whole. Yes, it was politic. Like feudal politics or the ancient comedies of spring and regeneration. And it felt that way, she had to admit. As if she were acting in response to imperatives stronger than her own desires, acting out the desires of some larger force, of perhaps Mars itself. It was not an unpleasant feeling. As for the idea that she might have gained leverage over Arcady, or Frank, or Hiroko, well, she successfully avoided thinking about that. It was one of Maya's talents. Hiroko is in charge of the farm, which also gives Hiroko some kind of power. Like, you know, 'cause she's in charge of the fucking farm. And she has, like, her own farm team, and so she's kind of like a third power in the house. She's a generally powerful badass. I love Hiroko. I hope she gets a chapter. You know, she's doing, like, hydroponics in the Bubble Dome. She has a rumored male harem. Yeah. She's got the male harem in the farmer, like, with the farmers. She's a very powerful woman. This is the title of the book is right here. Yeah, less space opera, more soap opera. That's exactly how I described it. Like, from week one, I was like, it's kind of like it's like a soap opera in space so far. It's drama. Okay. As for the idea that she might have gained leverage over Arcady or Frank or Hiroko, well, she successfully avoided thinking about that. It was one of Maya's talents. Blooms of yellow and red and orange spread across the walls. Mars was now the size of the moon in the Earth's sky. It was time to harvest all their effort. Only a week more, and they would be there. There was still tension over the unsolved problems of landfall assignments, and now Maya found it less easy than ever to work with Frank. It was nothing obvious, but it occurred to her that he did not dislike their inability. Excuse me, Maya, can you think more clearly? And now Maya found it less easy than ever to work with Frank. It was nothing obvious, but it occurred to her that he did not dislike their inability to control the situation, because the disruptions were being caused more by Arkady than anyone else, and so it looked like it was more her fault than his. More than once, she left a meeting with Frank and went to John, hoping to get some kind of help. But John stayed out of the debates and threw his support behind everything that Frank proposed. His advice to Maya, in private, was fairly acute, but the trouble was he liked Arkady and disliked Phyllis. So often he recommended to her that she support Arkady, apparently unaware of the way that this tended to undercut her authority among the other Russians. She never pointed this out to him, however. Lovers or not, there were still areas she didn't wish to discuss with him or anyone else. But one night in his room, her nerves were jangling, and lying there unable to sleep, worrying about first this and then that, she said, "Do you think it would be possible to hide a stowaway on this ship?" "Well, I don't know," he said, surprised. "Why do you ask?" Swallowing hard, she told him about the face through the algae bottle. Algae bottle. He sat up in bed, staring at her. "You're sure it wasn't any of us?" He rubbed his jaw. "Well, I suppose if he were getting help from someone in the crew." "Hiroko?" Maya suggested. "I mean, not just because she's Hiroko, but because of the farm and all of that. It would solve his food problem, and there's a lot of places to hide there. And he could have taken shelter with the animals during the radiation storm. They got a lot of REMs. But he could have gotten behind their water supply. A little one-man shelter wouldn't be too hard to set up." John still hadn't gotten over the idea of it. A whole year in hiding. It's a big ship. It could be done, right? "Well, I suppose so." "Yeah, it could, I guess. But why?" Maya shrugged. "I have no idea. Someone who wanted on? Who didn't make the selection? Someone who had a friend? Or friends? Still, I mean, a lot of us had friends who wanted to come. That doesn't mean that..." I know. They talked about it for most of an hour, discussing the possible reasons, the methods that could have been used to slip a passenger on board, to hide him, and so on. And then Maya suddenly noticed that she felt much better. That she was, in fact, in a wonderful mood. John believed her. He didn't think that she had gone crazy. She felt a wash of relief and happiness, and threw her arms around him. "It's so good to be able to talk to you about this." He smiled. We're friends, Maya. You should have brought it up before. Yes. Patty Mrow, thank you for 100 bits.